mentioned Srimati Radharani. She can see Krishna. When she's with Krishna, she sees Krishna. But when she's not with Krishna, she sees Krishna everywhere. And it said that in the Bhagavad Gita, as you've been studying, Krishna says, I am the taste in water. So just by drinking water, Prabhupada actually says, we can think, this is Krishna. But in so many other examples Krishna gives, I am the intelligence. Sorry, I'm the ability in man. Of the fish, I'm the shark. Excuse me. So many examples the Lord gives where we can actually see the Lord in various different ways. So can we see the Lord in different ways within our lives? So I understand that obviously Srila Prabhupada and the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam has given a strong emphasis on the Bhagavan aspect of the Lord. But as we know, there's three aspects of the Lord. There is his Brahman effulgence. This is the Lord's external energy. There's Paramatma, he's localized within the heart. And then, of course, there's Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord. But sometimes we can become, perhaps in our lives, I know I speak for myself, practicing Krishna consciousness, we don't necessarily appreciate all the aspects of the Lord. Bhaktivinoda Thakur used a brilliant example. I think I explained some time ago. He gave a wonderful example of the train. As trains were coming, were being built, were being introduced by the British Empire at the time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And he gives the example of how some people, they'd never seen a train before in India. And so some people that would come to see a train, and they'd see a train approaching from a distance, and they could see a bright light. And so the people seeing this bright light would think, okay, we've seen the train, it's just a bright light. And they went back inside. Some people would stay. They would stay to see the train come to the platform. They'd see the train with this huge light arrive at the platform and see, the train is a huge inanimate metal object. It's a huge metal object. Okay, we've seen the train now. It's got a big light and it's a big metal object. Okay, Haribol. And they left. But some people would wait and see. And not only would they see a huge light approaching, not only would they see this huge metal object arriving at the platform, but they'd see that people were coming in and out of the train. So they can see that actually the train is an instrument, a vehicle that can transport people from one place to the other. So like this Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, this is the full understanding. So who has the full understanding of the train? Some people say, the train is just a big light. Some people say, the train, it has a big light and it's a big metal object. Some people say it has a big light. The train has a big light. It's a big metal object, but it's used to transport people from one place to the other. That's the full understanding. In the same way, this understanding of the Lord is that he has his energies, Brahman. He has the personalized, localized aspect within the heart. That's Paramatma. But he also has he is the Supreme Lord, a person that we can cultivate a relationship with. And this is Bhagavan. So that is a full understanding. So I heard a nice example once that someone, I know I'm quite fond of gulab jambu. Gulab jambu is a sweet dessert. So it's almost like a small ball in rose syrup, almost like a small cake ball in rose syrup. And it said that you can experience gulab jambu in three ways. So first of all is by the fragrance. So it has a very sweet fragrance, and and you can see it. And just upon smelling and seeing it, your mouth may even start to salivate. But then also you can hold it in your hand. And by feeling it then, so you're smelling it, you can see it, but then also by touching it, especially when it's warm, it should be served kind of hot to warm. It has a unique texture. And then finally, you can taste it. So in the same way, this is also compared to the three aspects of the Lord. But just because we know that the Bhagwan is the highest, doesn't mean that we cannot appreciate all the other aspects of the Lord as well and become ignorant of those. In the same way that if we know that Gulab Jambu, the highest, is to taste it, doesn't mean that we still don't take in its fragrance. We still don't feel its texture, and we just hold our nose until we put it in our mouth. We have the full experience. So in this way, I wanted to make the point that we need to appreciate the completeness of Krishna. And how do we do this? We can look at how Krishna is acting within our lives. So I gave the various examples within the Bhagavad Gita of how Krishna has said so many things. I am the ability in man. I am the taste in water. So in this way, we're trying to develop a consciousness by which we can actually see Krishna everywhere, not just when we're studying the Shastra, not just when we're reading Bhagavatam, not just when we're trying to chant. And within the purport, Krishna, Srila Prabhupada has said, Lord Krishna and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are not therefore incarnations, but the original source of all other incarnations. So, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given a process where we can see God, we can see the Lord in his entirety. And what is this process? He's given Sankirtan. So San literally means coming together, and Kirtan means glorifying. But to glorify who? To glorify Krishna and his devotees. So to glorify often means that we need to express gratitude. So I was listening to a class, and the devotee, His Grace Raj Bihari Prabhu, often does an exercise with people. So he'll get people to come in pairs, and then he'll ask them to explain to the other person how one devotee has helped them in their life. And through doing this, the other person then has to present what the other person has said. So one person talked about a devotee who had brought him to Krishna consciousness and cleared all his doubts, so that the other person explained to the audience, so this is what this devotee did for him. It cleared all his doubts, answered all his questions. Another person explained how a devotee that really helped them when they were going through a difficult time, had been on the phone to them, had come to their house and helped them in this way. So in this way, by expressing gratitude for the devotees, we can develop that connection to Krishna. But then Prabhu made a really nice point that the next stage of the exercise is to express gratitude for this devotee, but not in relation to the self, which I thought was really, really interesting. In order to connect to the Lord in his entirety, we need to develop a gratitude that needs to rise beyond ourselves. So I'll just repeat that. In order to connect to the Lord in his entirety and to be able to see Krishna everywhere, we need to almost put ourselves and develop a gratitude that goes beyond ourselves. I wrote down that God doesn't revolve around us. We should revolve around God, right? So the next point in the exercise is that Prabhu asked the people to say, okay, now glorify this devotee, but express gratitude to this devotee, but not in relation to yourself. So in this way, one devotee said, yes, this devotee, he does so much for the community. He's often helping at the temple so much, started so many projects and helped so many devotees and like this. Another person said that this this devotee is so amazing. His mother cooks every day, was cooking 7 days a week. So he, to express gratitude for her, he now cooks, he ensures that he cooks 3 times out of the week to take some burden off her, and expressing his great qualities. So that was the second point of the exercise. But the third point was, so the first was express how this devotee has helped me. Second point was express how this devotee or Krishna has helped others. And the third point was just expressing the qualities of a devotee in relation to the Lord. And this is what pleases the Lord as well. Is seeing, we can see Krishna in Krishna's qualities manifesting in the devotees around us. I think this is such an important point. I know for myself that sometimes I may write prayers, write personal prayers, write reflections, or I'll be reading the Bhagavatam and I'll write nice points, but in relation sometimes to myself. But in order to develop a holistic view and try to see Krishna in each and every moment, can I rise beyond just myself? Because that is the point of Krishna consciousness, is to rise beyond this material conception of the self and rise above to the ultimate self. And as I said, that God, he doesn't revolve around me. I should be revolving around God. So like this, we can start to see if we can cultivate this mindset and develop gratitude for devotees in a broader sense, and see the Lord's qualities manifest in them. We can start to see the Lord everywhere. In this very purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and I mentioned that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is most merciful incarnation of the Lord. He's shown us so much benevolence. He's given us Sankirtan. But the benevolence of Lord Chaitanya is so broad, because not only would he give benedictions, give liberation to really the wealthy, such as, for example, Raghunath Das Goswami. He was a very comes from a very wealthy background. Even Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, they were financial ministers for the ruler of Bengal, which is actually a much larger province then than it was now. So you can imagine their position and their financial standing. But he also, so he's giving liberation to even billionaires, but he's also giving it to the most fallen, which is Jagai and Madai. And these were the worst kinds of people who were stealing, burning people's houses down, abusing women, and worse. So these two different classes of people, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving liberation to through the Sankirtan movement, and everyone in between. You know, it's said that in the pastimes of Krishna, sometimes we can hear about devotees such as Arjun, who is a very mighty warrior, an elevated devotee, and he's so powerful that he was able to take out hundreds, scores of men on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Or we can hear about Bhishmasena, who was pierced by so many arrows, but was still able to give a discourse to the Pandavas. Or we can hear about Lord Bhim, who was as strong as thousands of elephants. And we could think, okay, these people were almost mystical, supernatural. We can't really relate to them in some ways. We can and we can't. But then we look at the activities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, and we can see that actually in his most merciful incarnation, we can relate to him. We can relate to the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because the people he liberated were on such a fallen platform. And we can see this all around us and even within ourselves. So So in this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mentioned here as the most merciful incarnation of the Lord, giving this Sankirtan movement. And the best way we can do this, coming together and glorifying Krishna and his devotees. And in this way, as I mentioned, so by developing, we study the Shastra to develop these deep roots in our faith, and also to rise high and see the bigger picture, which is see the Lord in our lives in every passing moment, not just when we're discussing Bhagavatam, not just when we're doing our sadhana, but in our day-to-day lives. Perhaps when we're drinking even water, we can think of Krishna. And then can we develop this gratitude towards the Lord, not just in relation to ourselves, but in relation to others, and see his qualities manifest in that devotee. And that way we can develop an even greater faith in the Lord. And this is why we need to cultivate even more the depths of knowledge as expressed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So those were just a few things I wanted to say about about this wonderful verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Please excuse my sore throat. I'm still recovering from the effects of the illness that I had. At this point in time, I suppose we have a fair bit of time left to see if anyone has any comments, corrections, or questions.
Thank you, Prabhu. In spite of your health, you have come and guided us today. We will all pray for your speedy recovery. Let's all chant one time for speedy recovery of His Grace Kamal Panchal Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You will be fine, Prabhu, soon. I'm sure that you're taking some kashayam, what you call that, the kardas. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu, for the wonderful class and then insights into the proper report, and literally how it's mentioned in the purport that the avatars, the incarnations are innumerable, like the rivulets flowing into the inexhaustible source of water. It's really difficult for us to conceive even how it can be possible. I mean, it's not possible for us to, like, with a little bit limited understanding, we can't even conceive like how there can be as many as incarnations of the species, like 8,400,000 species. So, and also the things that you told on the faith and the attitude, what we need to see in the other devotees, and also I especially like the idea of like we should not we should revolve around Krishna rather than Krishna revolving around us. So thank you so much, Prabhu. I open up for discussion. Are there any questions or comments? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have a question.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, in that purport, it says that there was evidence in a lot of the scriptures mentioning the advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I am only aware of one in the Bhagavatam where when he was taken to have the rituals done, and Garga Muni said that this child will come in 3 different colors, red and yellow, and I think it's white. Can you please tell me where is it mentioned in the other scriptures, please?
So you want to know, just to clarify, Mataji, you want to know like a list of kind of where the predictions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mentioned, and this is how we know that actually it's a very good question. How do we know the an incarnation of the Lord is bona fide? Is it's always mentioned in scripture. So there's mentioned so there's a list actually. So a long time ago I read an article. You can find it on ISKCON Desire, but I'll send it on the group as well, where there's literally a list within the Upanishads of in the Shruti scriptures, but also in the Smriti scriptures as well. Of so this is later in the Srimad Bhagavatams. It's also mentioned. Prahlad Maharaj also mentions that the Lord will appear in his various incarnations, including that of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So within the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's mentioned twice, I believe. Then so there's a whole many list where there's either it may be very explicit or maybe subtle hints, or like more I think in the Devi Purana it said his name, it actually explicitly says his name will be Sri Krishna Chaitanya, and he will spread the chanting of the Lord's name. So there's throughout scriptures it is actually mentioned, but also not only just is it mentioned in the scriptures, obviously due to his activities, due to his features, and like this it's there. But what I can do is I can provide some references for that Mataji as well. But there's a nice article which I've saved somewhere, which is just listed nicely all the references to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I can send that I'll send that to Kirtika Mataji straight after the class, and she can share that. It's a very interesting to read.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It's just my lack of knowledge, really.
Mine too, Mataji. I'm learning every day. Thank you so much.
It's mentioned in the Vishnu Sahasranama as well, Prabhu. Vishnu Sahasranama, Suvarna Varno Hemango. So
yeah.
So
yes,
it is also mentioned in the Vishnu Sahasranama.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yes, it's interesting enough. Before I came to Krishna consciousness, I would recite the Vishnu Sahasranam because there's a very nice Indian lady who's famous for reciting
MS Subbalakshmi.
That's right. Yeah, that's right, Prabhu. Yes, I used to listen to that and recite it all the time. Yes, yes, Prabhu. Yes, of course. Thank you.
But as you said, I think there's a list of the scriptures, various scriptures where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance is listed. Yeah, I'm sure. You can share it to Kirtika Mataji, then we can all take it.
I'd just like to thank also Pramila Mataji for bringing that point up, because it's so important that any avatar of Krishna that we refer to, we can back it up as worshippers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Gaudiya, practicing Gaudiya Vaishnavas, and we can refer to scripture. So it's so important that Mataji actually gets that clarification, because I mentioned some time ago I was watching I've been watching Abhay Charan, the life of Srila Prabhupada, and in the pastimes of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, there's once a tantric yogi who by his penance had acquired some mystic powers, and he was actually telling the people that he was God. And this happens quite often throughout the course of India, that a personality will come along and tell people that he is God, and he'll be able to perform some miracles and things like this sometimes. And so people will become bewildered and think that this person is God, and in this way they become deluded. So it's so important that we follow the Shastra, because if it's not predicted in the Shastra, then we know that this is not an incarnation of the Lord. And of course, he can't perform. They may be able to perform some tricks, but they can't perform the activities of the Lord. Like, for example, how Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill with only its little finger. So thank you so much, Mataji.
Also, last time Sri Gauranga Prabhu mentioned a good acronym for all of us to remember. it is safe. The S is for scriptures, A is for attributes, F is for followers like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and E is for extraordinary, activities.
I think we'll all be safe if we follow that formula, Prabhu.
Yes, yes. Very nice. He gave 2 acronyms that day. The 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 different avatars, Jim PLS. G is for Guna Avataras, Y is for Yuga Avataras, M is for Manvantara Avataras, P is for Purusha Avataras, L is for Lila Avataras, and then S is for Shaktiavesh Avataras. So he gave us very nice acronyms to remember easily.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhu. I'll note those down myself. My mother actually watched that class, was telling me about it. So I'm looking forward to seeing the recording.
Yes, yes. Are there any questions or comments? Hare Krishna.
Okay, Prabhu, can I ask another question then?
Yes, please, Manji.
Prabhuji, there is mention of all these incarnations like rivulets, and I've heard about 33 million incarnations or gods. But is that at what age was that? Is that over the different ages or what? Because it's something I am not aware of. I am aware of the Krishna avatar and all that, and all the different incarnations he's taken, like in the Bhagavatam or in the Ramayana or so. But what about all these others? Can you please just tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, so Mataji, so Prabhupada actually explains it in the purport, in this very purport, actually. Sorry, in here he says actually, so sorry, in slightly later purport, he actually says that when they are in the purport to text 28, it actually says when they are partly manifested through the plenary portions or parts of plenary portions, it should be noted that certain manifestations of his different powers are required for those particular functions. So you can see that here, and in this very purport, it says that some incarnations mentioned above are almost plenary portions. For instance, the Kumaras are empowered with transcendental knowledge. Sri Narad, so Narad Muni, is empowered with devotional service. Maharaj Prithu is an empowered incarnation with executive function. So what does this mean? Does that mean that the Kumaras are Krishna? Does that mean that Narad Muni is Krishna? No, it doesn't mean that they're Krishna, but it means that they're almost like an extension, if you will. They're empowered directly by Krishna. And in this way, they're considered. So you have, as you mentioned, and famously, it's you've probably been discussing. I actually have I've just moved house, but I used to have a poster, which a devotee gave me in India, of the Dasya avatar or 10 avatars. And like this, we can see in the different ages that they appear of Krishna. But then you obviously have, as I mentioned, that in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna even says, I am the ability in man of the fish. I'm the shark. So like this way, Krishna, we can see Krishna. Krishna is actually saying, I appear at the best, the very best of the best. That is me also. So this is how it's explained. Though I admit, perhaps if anyone is like to add and can explain this as well. But basically what I'm saying is that Krishna also appears in incarnations as the best, as the very best. You could say, for example, of the Mangalacharan reciters, I am Shashrin Prabhu. Yeah. Because Shashrin Prabhu recites the Mangalacharan so nicely. I've never heard anyone recite it as nicely as him. But like this, Krishna is working through these people. And certainly he was working through Srila Prabhupada. I hope that clarifies a little bit, Mataji, is that essentially what is the point is that Krishna, we're trying to get to see Krishna everywhere. That will take us some time because it's almost unfathomable for our minds to see. But an analogy that comes to mind is many, many years ago, I ran a half marathon. And so I hadn't run very long. A half marathon is 13.1 miles. So, which is about 24 kilometers, something like that. And the longest I'd ever run before is about 3 miles. So, and after 3 miles, I would be tired. But then as I started training week after week, I was training about 3-4 times a week. Suddenly, even 10 miles became easy for me. And I wasn't even out of breath after 10 miles. But why am I telling you this? Is because as we get in the habit of starting to see Krishna everywhere through learning more about him, we get in the habit of thinking, I'm drinking water now. This is Krishna. Prabhupada actually says even a drunkard, when he drinks wine, he should think, this is Krishna. What to speak of people practicing. So in this way, slowly, as I ran and running became easy, eventually the idea is it becomes natural to us to comprehend, okay, all these amazing qualities that I see on a day-to-day basis are coming from Krishna. Does that make sense, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu, I think so when he says, I am the sun, I am the moon, I am the Himalayas, I am the lion, and all this, is that what we are talking about? All the different creation, all the things he has created in the world? Is that what it's interpreted as, the different, all the 33 million gods, do you think?
Yes, but also that he so I'm just trying to think of the best way with my limited understanding of this, is that yes, he is saying that I appear as all these various creations, but yes, as also he is so he has his direct incarnations and then he has his indirect incarnations. And it's just important that we're able to distinguish between the two. So Krishna, as he appears, that is the Lord there. Lord Chaitanya, as he appears, that is the Lord. Nrsingadev, as he appears. Lord Ramachandra, whose appearance day it was, that is the Lord. But then we have also these empowered beings who are an extension of himself and his energies.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I think we are closing to our the session. Pralad Prabhu, could you close the session?
Yes, Prabhu. First, I would like to start off by thanking His Grace Kamal Panchal Prabhu for joining us and giving us this wonderful class. Thank you, Prabhu. Hopefully you get better soon. I'm happy that at least you are better enough to give us this divine nectar. So thank you, Prabhu. And I would also like to thank the devotees assembled here for also devoting at least 1 hour of their time to listen to His Grace Kamal Panchal Prabhu as well. So on behalf of ISKCON Eldoret, we would like to thank you, Prabhu. So I would like to kindly request all the devotees assembled here, please unmute yourselves and let's chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra once for His Grace Kamal Panchal Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama Hare
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kirpa Sindhu Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
His Grace Kamal Panchal Prabhu ki.
Jai.
ISKCON Eldoret ki.
Jai.
Jai Gaur Premanande.
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol.
Great.
Thank you very much. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare
Thank-
Krishna.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Prabhuji. Very
Hare
nice.
Speedy
Krishna.
recovery, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Hare
All
Krishna.
glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I'm ending this session. Hare Krishna.